In a move that has sent shockwaves through diplomatic and defense circles, the Philippines has abruptly paused a $5.5 billion deal for American F-16 fighter jets, surprising many in Washington and raising questions about the future of military cooperation between the two longtime allies. This unexpected decision signals a significant shift in Manila's defense priorities, as the country reassesses its strategic needs in a rapidly changing regional environment. Rather than quietly shelving the deal, top defense officials took the unusual step of publicly questioning its value, dismissing media hype, and emphasizing that no final decision had been made, leaving the door open for further negotiations or alternative options. The F-16s were once hailed as a potential game-changer for the Philippine Air Force, offering not only cutting-edge air power but also the promise of a deeper, more robust U.S.-Philippine alliance in the face of growing regional tensions. However, the initial excitement quickly faded as Manila began to reconsider the massive financial and logistical commitment, weighing the prestige and capabilities of advanced fighter jets against the country's urgent maritime security needs and the realities of its defense budget. This move has left Washington rethinking the future of its alliance with Manila, as the Philippines asserts a new level of independence and pragmatism in its defense planning, determined to chart its own course. Manila is making it clear its procurement choices will be guided by national interests, operational needs, and budget realities rather than simply accepting American offers or following traditional expectations. The decision is less about rejecting the United States and more about demanding a partnership that truly fits the Philippines' unique security challenges and economic landscape, ensuring that every deal serves the nation's long-term interests. In today's complex world, successful alliances require flexibility, mutual respect, and a deep understanding of each nation's real needs, qualities that will define the next chapter of U.S.-Philippine defense relations. The main obstacle: it's not just about military strategy or regional security. The real challenge is financial, and it's a hurdle that's hard to ignore. The staggering $5.5 billion price tag for the F-16s, nearly the entire annual defense budget of the Philippines, has raised eyebrows across the government. For a country with so many competing priorities, this is a sum that can't be taken lightly. Committing so much to one platform would mean sacrificing other critical modernization projects. Upgrading the Navy, improving cyber defense, and enhancing ground forces could all be delayed or downsized if the F-16 deal goes through. The true cost goes beyond the jets themselves. Training, maintenance, spare parts, and munitions would strain the budget for decades. Every year, millions more would be needed just to keep the fleet operational, putting long-term pressure on defense spending. Without major U.S. financial assistance, sustaining these jets could leave other essential services underfunded. Education, healthcare, and infrastructure projects might all face cuts, affecting the daily lives of ordinary Filipinos. Defense Secretary Gilberto Teodoro insists any acquisition must be practical and sustainable. He's made it clear that the country cannot afford to jeopardize its future for a single, high-profile purchase. The government's stance is clear: unless the deal becomes affordable, it's off the table. Negotiations continue, but Manila is holding firm on its financial red lines. The pandemic's economic fallout has only heightened scrutiny of big-ticket defense spending. With the economy still recovering, every peso counts, and public opinion is wary of costly military deals. In this climate, prioritizing expensive fighter jets over maritime patrol and disaster response is a tough sell. Many argue that resources should go to areas that directly impact national security and disaster preparedness. The pause on the F-16 deal reflects both strategic rethinking and economic necessity. It's a moment for Manila to reassess its defense priorities in light of current realities. Manila is choosing fiscal responsibility and real-world needs over prestige hardware. For now, the focus is on what truly matters to the nation's security and its people's well-being. The Philippines' defense choices are shaped by the daily reality of the South China Sea, a region that has become one of the world's most volatile maritime flashpoints. Every day, Filipino sailors and Coast Guard crews navigate waters where the lines of sovereignty are hotly contested, and the risks are ever present. Chinese vessels routinely challenge the Philippines' sovereignty, pushing into waters claimed by Manila, and confronting Filipino boats with aggressive maneuvers that test the limits of patience and resolve. The main threat isn't a conventional air war with fighter jets and missiles, but a constant grinding struggle for maritime control, fought with Coast Guard ships, patrol boats, and even civilian fishing vessels. These encounters are tense, unpredictable, and can escalate quickly. China's gray zone tactics, harassment, blockades, and swarming keep tensions high without open conflict. These actions are designed to wear down the Philippines' resolve, making it difficult to maintain a consistent presence in its own waters. In this environment, advanced fighter jets like the F-16 offer little help against these subtle but persistent tactics. What Manila truly needs are assets that can provide a persistent maritime presence, rapid response to incidents, and the ability to monitor vast stretches of ocean. The strategic conversation has shifted decisively toward acquiring more patrol vessels, enhancing surveillance capabilities, and strengthening coastal defense systems. These tools are far more relevant for the day-to-day realities faced by the Philippines at sea. Mistrust of Beijing runs deep, with officials demanding that China's actions, not just its words, earn trust. Diplomatic overtures are met with skepticism, as each new incident at sea reinforces the sense of vulnerability. The disputes in the South China Sea are the central driver of Philippine defense strategy, shaping every major decision about military spending, alliances, and force posture. Manila is focused on building capabilities that can protect its sovereignty and assert its rights in this contested maritime domain, where every patrol is a statement of national resolve. The pause on F-16 acquisitions is a direct response to these unique, on-the-water challenges, reflecting a strategic pivot toward the tools and tactics most needed to defend the nation's interests in the South China Sea. The Philippines is pivoting from prestige platforms to practical coastal defense, guided by a modernization roadmap developed with the U.S. The focus now is on offshore patrol vessels, coastal surveillance systems, and anti-ship missiles, tools tailored to counter China's maritime tactics. Patrol boats and drones provide persistent presence and vital intelligence, while anti-ship missiles create a credible deterrent. This layered, cost-effective approach builds resilience without breaking the bank. True security comes from having the right tools for the job, not just the most advanced ones. The Philippines is investing in a defense posture that matches its geography, threats, and budget. Flashpoints like Sandy Cay and Scarborough Shoal make the South China Sea dispute intensely real for the Philippines. When China claimed to have dealt with Filipino personnel at Sandy Cay, Manila countered with photos and videos of its flag raised on the reef. These images were a direct assertion of sovereignty and a rebuttal to Beijing's narrative. At Scarborough Shoal, Chinese vessels routinely block Filipino fishermen, keeping tensions high. These incidents highlight why Manila is prioritizing maritime assets. Patrol vessels and surveillance are essential for defending its interests. For the Philippines, sovereignty is defended not by jets, but by presence and proof on the water. Despite the F-16 impasse, U.S.-Philippine military ties remain strong, anchored by regular joint exercises like Balikatan. These drills bring thousands of troops together for live fire training, amphibious landings, and crisis response. They send a clear message. The U.S. commitment to Philippine security is credible and unwavering. Exercises often take place near the South China Sea, reinforcing freedom of navigation and regional stability. For the Philippines, these drills are vital for modernization and learning from a top-tier partner. For the U.S., they strengthen alliances and operational readiness in a critical region. The F-16 decision reflects a maturing partnership. Manila is asserting its needs, while deepening operational cooperation. The alliance is adapting, focusing on capability building and readiness over hardware deals. This evolution makes the partnership more practical and effective for today's security challenges. Beijing views growing U.S.-Philippine military cooperation with alarm, calling joint drills provocative and destabilizing. China accuses Manila of colluding with outside powers to challenge its interests in the South China Sea. The expansion of U.S. access to Philippine bases under EDCA is seen as a direct threat to China's regional ambitions. In response, China conducts its own military exercises, escalating tensions and increasing the risk of miscalculation. While the F-16 pause might seem like a win for Beijing, Manila's shift to practical coastal defense is equally concerning for China. Asymmetric capabilities, like anti-ship missiles and surveillance, make it harder for China to assert control. Beijing would prefer a weaker Philippine military, but Manila's new approach presents a different kind of challenge. The region remains a potential flashpoint, with both sides adapting their strategies. China is uneasy about a more resilient, self-reliant Philippines. The South China Sea conflict is now fought as much with information as with ships. China's claim of control at Sandy Cay was a calculated narrative move, amplified by state media. The Philippines countered with assertive transparency, releasing photos and videos to prove its presence. This information battle is crucial. Controlling the story can rally support and build a legal case. For Manila, exposing China's actions and disinformation is a way to level the playing field. The international community is watching, and transparency puts pressure on Beijing to follow norms. The struggle is both physical and narrative, a contest for territory and for global opinion. The Philippines is now actively competing on both fronts. Stepping back from the F-16 deal marks the Philippines' determination to assert sovereignty while maintaining its U.S. alliance. Manila is making clear that its defense choices are based on its own interests, not just allied expectations. This independence actually strengthens the alliance, making it more realistic and sustainable. By focusing on affordable, practical coastal defense, the Philippines becomes a more effective and self-reliant partner. Investing in asymmetric capabilities raises the cost of aggression and deters conflict. The rejection of the F-16s is not an end, but the start of a new pragmatic chapter in Philippine defense. In the turbulent South China Sea, this independent approach may be the best hope for lasting peace.